Good morning and welcome to Preston Ribble Methodist's Daily Reflection. We're going to be looking at stories this morning and the impact that they have on our lives. I'm going to start off by telling you a story. It's about a lady called Becky Wass from Falmouth, and she found herself helpless amongst this coronavirus epidemic. She decided to try and do something positive and designed some postcards that could be put through her neighbours' doors and those in her community. These postcards had tick boxes on, and on the tick boxes you could tick whether you was in urgent need, whether you needed prescriptions picking up, whether you just wanted a phone call and a chat. And this has been so widely accepted that people around the world are adopting this method of trying to help those who are self-isolating. When asked, Becky Wass says this: I was talking to my husband, and I was talking to John about the news and how quite hard-hitting it was. And there wasn't much that we could do to make a difference. If one person feels less lonely or less isolated by what I am doing, I will feel a whole lot better. We're hearing stories like this all the time on the news. The special programmes dedicated to those who are helping people throughout and who are living within this coronavirus world that we find ourselves in. These stories, they're offering some hope to people. And we're seeing people come together like never before. Jesus told many stories, and he was a great storyteller. And he used those stories to offer guidance, to offer challenges, and to offer hope, but also to show grace in all its abundance. And I'm sure we all have our own favourite stories from the Bible. My personal favourite is Mary and Martha, so much so that we named our dog Martha. The stories that Jesus told have been told and retold, passed through generation after generation. Stories from 2,000 years ago that are still having an impact on our lives today. They can be read over and over again. And to me, that brings the Bible to life. And I find that truly, truly amazing. So what's the story? The President and Vice President of the Methodist Conference have chosen to use the phrase, "So what's the story?" as the 2019-2020 theme for Methodists. They say this: we want to encourage every Methodist and more to rediscover the importance of stories, biblical, historical, or personal. It's unusual that a theme is based upon a question, something to ponder over. And if you think about it, Jesus often answered questions with questions. So what will our story be? It's crucial in times that we are facing at the moment that we listen intently to others, to learn from their stories that are either biblical, whether their stories are historical or personal. So what's the story? What's our stories? Living through and in a pandemic like never seen before, we will become and form part of world history. Our children and our grandchildren who are living through this will have tales to tell in the future of the year 2020. Will our stories offer a hope for a different and brighter future? Will our stories tell of how creation could breathe and come to life again? Will our stories remember the random acts of kindness of strangers living 2 or 3 doors down? Or are we going to be that stranger offering random acts of kindness? A couple of weeks ago, we had a box delivered to our house. In this box, there were lots of handmade theatre hats, scrub bags, and wash bags that contained toiletries. We also had some knitted red hearts delivered as well. They were delivered so that my husband could take them to the hospital where he works and to give them out to the staff. He took the wash bags to the ICU ward so that patients that had been rushed into hospital and who couldn't receive any visitors had something. The person who made these won't ever understand how gratefully they were received, because they couldn't say in words just how they felt when they received them. We will never forget how this pandemic has affected so many, and so many lives lost. But let our stories, both spoken, written, sung or prayed, be a source of hope in a God who is always present. Let our story show God in action. The smallest act of kindness can be transformative. Let our stories radiate out into the communities we live and the wider world. And may we draw strength from the stories that were told 2,000 years ago. May our stories offer hope, peace and joy to those that we share them with. Let us pray. Loving God, we just want to thank you that we hear all these stories of goodwill happening at the present time. We hear the stories of communities coming together, showing love, care and compassion, and we just want to give thanks for that. We thank you for the ability to read all the stories that Jesus told, and that we can draw strength from these stories in difficult times. May our stories, through your strength, through your guidance, make a difference to the lives of people we meet. And may they offer hope, joy and peace in a future that is unknown, but in a future where we know you will be with us always. Amen.